Man, I can't believe we are basically 7 months done with 2022 already. 7 months? This is the last day of July. Where's the time going? Man, I can't even tell you, bro. What's up? JGoodWithSports here. Look, today's going to be a brief show, but we're going to highlight a few things here and there. First, so Minnesota Timberwolves point guard D'Angelo Russell made a tweet, and I 100% agree. I fully, support this. If he wants to run for president after this tweet, I'm all for it. Look, he says, quote, NBA is full of athletes, not basketball players, hashtag respectfully. I agree. And what he means by that is there is a bunch of sensational athletes in the NBA that just so happen to, be talented enough to play basketball. As in the skill level of the game isn't where it used to be. By far. And over the years, I definitely had discussions with this with certain friends. I mean, it's true. Like, for instance, growing up when I was younger, in the 90s, early 2000s, blah, 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 it was definitely a lot more skillful. I mean, yeah, there were some athletic players rather. But you can tell that these guys that was in the league, worked on their craft. And it was, okay, if they couldn't beat them with their pure athleticism, like, okay, well, I have a go-to move here, I have another move here. It's like once, nowadays, it's like once certain guys' athleticism is, taken away from them by Father Time, then it's like, what good are you at that point? What can you fall back on? What is your bread and butter? What is something that you can still contribute to a team and stay in the NBA for a longer career? See, this is why, like, shooters, those 3-and-D guys, people like Danny Green, PJ Tucker, this is how these guys stay in the league. Because, one, they play defense. For two, they can hit a corner three. Like, those guys, will forever be relevant in the league. Because you need a bunch of 3-and-D guys. Now, if you somebody like, let's just say, for example, Blake Griffin, who, in his prime with the Clippers, was dunking any and everything. And man, Blake Griffin with the Clippers, highlights and Lob City and all of that. I mean, I used to enjoy watching it big time. Him, DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul throwing it up, one of those two coming down with it. Rest in peace, Brandon Knight, when he got dunked on and the internet blew up at the time by DeAndre Jordan. But anyway, Blake Griffin, once the athleticism started to go down, especially after he got traded to the Pistons, he had to somehow reinvent himself to stay in the league. I mean, right now he's technically not signed. But had he not learned how to shoot a 3-ball, he would be out the league because he can't play any defense. Because those moments last year when, Brooklyn decided to put him in the game, I think in Game 3, in Game 4 in the playoffs when the Celtics was too busy sweeping them. Yeah, he was hitting the 3. But every trip down, Jaylen Brown was attacking him in the pick and roll, and he would score bucket after bucket after bucket on this man. So, I mean, that's just one example. I mean, look at the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. I mean, he came in, jumping from the free throw line, doing all sorts of these acrobatic layups, sensational finishes, just left and right, just beating people with pure athleticism. It was amazing. But, during the second half of his career, the mid-range game came into play. As you know, Michael got one of the most deadliest mid-ranges this game has ever seen, the fadeaway. go-to move. He developed a post game as a shooting guard and was really good at it. And he could still score in other facets, but that was the go-to. Look at the footwork. That's amazing. I mean, Kobe Bean Bryant, same thing. Even though he was a replica of Michael Jordan, but I mean, that was about as good of a replica as we ever going to see because he was spot on. Same thing. What about Vince Carter? Vince Carter's a great example. Vince Carter came in half man, half amazing, dunking over everything and anything. Blowing out the 2000 dunk contest. It was over after the first dunk with a reverse 360 windmill with the left hand. I'll never forget that. Anyway. I mean, with the Raptors and the New Jersey Nets at the time, just pure athleticism. I mean, the jump shot was getting there, but he played 22 years in the league. There's no way you can play 22 years in the league and still be dependent on your athleticism that you was when you first came in the league. You had to reinvent yourself over your career. The three ball became more relevant for him. The mid-range game. Yeah, he could still, dunk it, but that wasn't, his bread and butter at the time. I mean, he stayed relevant because he could shoot the three. And he was able to come off the bench. So that, prolonged his career for the better. Because when his number is called for the Hall of Fame, he should be a first ballot without a doubt. Yeah, Vince Carter is an excellent example. So yeah, nowadays, so it's like, let's just say with the stars now and the upcoming stars, like my boy, my favorite player right now, Giannis. I mean, yeah, a lot of his game is pure athleticism. And I know he's, working on the skill part, the shooting part. But I am curious to see what will happen when it does happen. When his athleticism isn't as, athletic as he used to be. Isn't as dominant as he used to be with his athleticism. Can he develop a consistent 15-footer? Can he do that? Can he get footwork in the post game? Can he do that? We gonna find out. Let's just say Zion Williamson. As we know, he dominates purely based on his athleticism. I mean, yeah, he can handle the ball a little bit. I've seen that. He can shoot it a little bit. But can he finish developing that? Because otherwise, a couple more injuries here and, a few years down the line, I don't know, he might turn into Blake Griffin. I don't know. Ja Morant. Dominating sheerly on athleticism here. And that's fine because I love watching the man play. But jump shot has to be more consistent. It just has to be. Otherwise, I mean, he might turn into Westbrook. And we don't want to see that. Not even for Westbrook I want to see that from him, but that's what happens. What was the main thing we were saying about Westbrook when he first came in? I mean, him and Derrick Rose, the most athletic point guards we have ever seen on the planet at the time. But Westbrook has to develop a jump shot. It never happened. And look at him now. He's on the brink of being like out the league to a certain extent. I mean, he has 1 year left on his deal. If he's traded and bought out, who is picking him up? We just talked about this last time. Who? What system does he fit right now? What system does he fit? And then we looking at his counterpart, Derrick Rose, who, yeah, was a beast athletically when he first in the league. Man, every time that the Bulls played, I was so excited to watch Derrick Rose. But yeah, a couple knee injuries here and there. A bunch of years of rehab. This man reinvented himself. Yeah, he's definitely nowhere near as athletic as he used to be. But with all those injuries, this man came back and eventually dropped 50 points in the game when he was with the Timberwolves. The man can hit a mid-range. The man's three ball is a lot better than what he used to be. He's more skillful now. He's worked on his game. He's worked on his craft. Skillful players in the NBA can definitely last a lot longer. And it actually betters the game. Because they're overall better basketball players than just pure athletes. I mean, even LeBron, like I would say LeBron is a hybrid to a certain extent. Like, the man is skilled. Like, the passing IQ is there. I mean, mid-range has gotten a lot better over the years. Three ball has definitely got a lot better over the years. Now, his footwork in the post game is, and just that aspect, the go-to move maybe isn't there. It's like others. But at the same time, his athleticism still gives him a big advantage. So it's a hybrid. But I'll say this much, if LeBron didn't have the passing IQ that he had, and that was one of his biggest traits when he came in the league, if he didn't have that, and the jump shot wasn't all the way there, I mean, we'll be talking about LeBron just like we probably talking about the rest of these guys, actually. So, yeah, like D'Angelo Russell, I feel like is 100% right. It's a bunch of athletes, not enough basketball players in the NBA. I mean, I feel like a lot of these mixtapes that I see on Facebook and Instagram now, and sometimes Twitter, these young prospects coming up, they're all athletic moves and maybe a shooter three. It's all about them high flying in the gym. Yeah, but you can only do that for so long. I mean, can you still be crafty like Manu Ginobili was? That was his whole career, just being crafty. Craftiness, that's 100% skill. 100% skill. Manu wouldn't beat anybody with his explosiveness. Where do you see that at? That wasn't happening. And he accepted his role as being a sixth man. He could have been a starter on majority of the teams in this league in his prime. Majority. Matter of fact, a lot of the six men in NBA history are very skillful basketball players. I'm just thinking about it. Lou Williams, very skillful. You think he will win multiple six men in a year by being a pure athlete at his size? No, that's skill. Jamal Crawford, my gosh. He can still play today. He can still suit up today because he is skillful. He is a basketball player. He could. I mean, J.R. Smith. Now, J.R. Smith came in as an athlete, but he developed his shot over time. He developed a game. I know he's out the league now, but that's how he was able to stay relevant a little while, longer than probably he should. Man, look at a guy like Joe Johnson, ISO Joe. He played in the NBA this past season. He did. At 40-some years old, that man played in the league. That is pure skill. Pure skill. He still has the ability to play in today's game. Because he's a basketball player. He has a post game. He has a mid-range. He has handling. This man can do it all on the offensive end. Pure basketball player. Pure. Like, just Anthony Edwards. I think he's a hybrid. Yeah, his athleticism is outstanding. But he's a basketball player. And he is a pure multi-sport athlete, but he has skills. He does. This dude can be an all-star for a very long time. A very long time. So I would say this much. D'Angelo Russell's tweet, his teammate Anthony Edwards was not a part of that tweet. I know that for a fact. Yeah, I'm just curious to see where this game is going. Because a lot of the superstars, upcoming superstars, are going to be just pure athletic freaks. But what are you going to do when a significant injury hits or when Father Time says it's time? What you going to do? You going to reinvent yourself? Or you going to fizzle out? Because nowadays, I mean, everybody's an athlete. Everybody's an athlete. Like, you barely have an athletic advantage anymore. The whole generation is athletes. They're just full of athletes. And I feel like as more and more the years go by, the more athletic these kids are going to be. Like, I look at my 5-year-old son now, and he's doing things I'm like, I couldn't possibly do at his age. Just on athleticism alone. So yeah, I fully agree with D'Angelo Russell. The NBA is full of athletes, not basketball players. Meaning, get in the gym, actually working some games, develop some skills, develop some craftiness. I mean, you got to do something. You have to do something. Otherwise, I don't see many guys making it today to their second or third big contract. It's just not happening. It's just not. So yeah, D'Angelo Russell, I salute you, my brother, for dropping a gem here, putting people on notice, just letting them know. All right. So yeah, it's my time for today. Continue to check me out. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Continue to join your boy right here on the No Offense Radio app and the No Offense Network. Also host and co-host of 3 podcasts, including the JGoodWithSports podcast, the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, which will resume in less than 2 weeks. And today we have Destination Fantasy podcast in about an hour. So I'm going to get on that. So you all enjoy the rest of July, which, just only a few hours left. We get into August. I share a birthday with John Morant. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, you all have a good one. Be safe. Enjoy. Peace.